Hello, I'm Dana Terrell, a licensed clinical social worker from San Diego, California, and I have a question for you. Could you have an overfocused brain? You may not have even heard this term before because it was identified and coined by Daniel Amen, a psychiatrist from Costa Mesa, California. He's written a lot of books and given a lot of trainings to therapists, and I'm very grateful I learned about this condition from him long ago. He has several questions to ask to see if you might have an overfocused brain. And if you were to answer from 0 to 4, how frequently you have these issues, count the numbers of 3s and 4s you answer, and that will give you a clue as to whether you have an overfocused brain. So, of course, 0 is never, and 4 is very frequent, and 3 is frequent. So these are the two kind of red flags we want to pay attention to. So the first question is, do you know that you do excessive and useless worrying? If so, give yourself a score for that, 0 to 4. Are you upset when things are out of place and don't go as they're planned? Do you have a tendency to be oppositional or argumentative? Do you have a tendency to have repetitive negative or anxious thoughts? Do you have a tendency towards compulsive behaviors, like drinking too much or doing anything too much? Do you have an intense dislike for change? Or a tendency to hold grudges? This is a separate question. Do you have a tendency to hold grudges? Another one, do you have difficulty seeing options in situations? Do you need to have things done a certain way or you get very upset? Do others complain you worry too much? And final question, do you tend to say no without first thinking of the problem or the question? Let me say that again. Do you tend to say no without thinking about the question you're being asked? So these are the questions given by Dr. Daniel Amen. This is copyright as of 2003, so I won't post this without his permission. But if you total up your 3s and 4s and find you have 5 or 6 or more, then you have a fairly overfocused brain. And the good news is that this might actually help you understand why it's been so hard for you to get better. You may have anxiety, you may have depression, or both. And with an overfocused brain, that just makes everything harder. But as I said, there is good news, and Daniel Amen, through his brain scans, has discovered the good news. First, I'm going to show you the brain scan he's made of an overfocused brain. That's how he diagnosed it. He could see some people had a brain that looks like this. So in this image, you can see the white area that's going right over the top of the brain. And in this image, you can see a side view, how this white area, this is an overactive, overworking area. It's actually affecting the cingulate gyrus between the two lobes of the brain. So my way of describing it to my clients is that, ideally we want our two lobes of the brain to work together harmoniously and cooperatively. They both have different specialties, and it's kind of nice to be able to access both of those specialties, or the whole subsets of specialties they have. So I like to compare the structure in the middle of the two lobes to a picket fence between neighbors. And when you have a good relationship with your neighbors, you can both approach that picket fence and have a nice conversation with each other, and you feel good, you feel safe, you feel comfortable, all is well. But what if that picket fence all of a sudden it started to become in this active thing that two fences are grinding together. And do you really want to approach that fence anymore? Do you really want to talk to that neighbor anymore? Not really. So this is kind of what an overfocused brain is like. It's like the communication channels between the two parts of the brain are like an information highway. It's just going nuts. It's way overactive. So we want to help calm down that brain. And Daniel Amen has written a book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. There's a whole chapter about the overfocused brain. I highly recommend you read it. And two of the simple solutions he gave to help balance the activity in your overfocused brain are basic exercise and listening to music. These two activities help balance the activity in the brain. So you could do both at the same time. Anytime you feel you're grabbing onto negativity and you don't want to let go. I tell my clients, just imagine that brain is grabbing onto whatever it is that's not too useful to you right now. Just deliberately let go, actually turn around, go the opposite way, walk out of the house, go for a nice walk, maybe listening to music. You could pull out your phone and bring out some music and just enjoy looking at nature, enjoy looking up at the birds, the trees, just drink in some different stimulation than what you were grabbing onto just a moment before. And you can do that as often as you need to get yourself into a much healthier state of mind. So I hope that helps you benefit from the therapy you're getting with even more enhancement of successful results. Take care.